Getting PCS to Fort Dix or Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst and have no idea where to live? You're probably on Zillow, scrolling on Facebook, and you're running across names of towns: Mount Holly, Eastampton, Westampton, Cherry Hill, Mount Laurel, Pemberton, Browns Mills. Okay, but where do military families actually end up? What's the right town? Well, my name is Holden Greenblatt. I'm a local realtor here in South Jersey, and my family is the #1 VA real estate team here in the Garden State. And we're here to help you. We help hundreds and hundreds of buyers after they get their permanent change of station orders to Fort Dix navigate which town is best for them. So today I'm going to explain what towns may or may not be a good fit for you, for your family. We'll talk about vibe, commute, distances to other areas of the state, and how much bang you actually get for your BAH. You're going to want to stick around until the end because #1 is a town that I've been seeing more and more families gravitate towards. All right, so let's get our bearings here. Fort Dix is part of Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst. It's located in Burlington County, right near Pemberton and Browns Mills. You've got on-base housing options, but over and over again, we see that families tend to stray away from the base a little bit for a little bit more space. And over, we see the same names come up: Pemberton, Browns Mills, Mount Holly, Eastampton, Westampton, Cherry Hill, Mount Laurel, Medford. And in this video, I'm going to group it by who these towns are best for. We'll split it up into 3 groups. First one, the shortest commute. If that's the most important thing to you, then definitely keep that in mind. The second one, the balanced suburb. So it gives you a mix of closer to military life, but in between close to the big box stores as well, the Targets, the Home Depots, the Walmarts. And then the third group will be the lifestyle group, the people who are really focused on the schools, on the cul-de-sac. They want their neighborhood to have a sidewalk, be right next to the big retail centers. And hey, everyone has their own taste. So before we fully dive in, I just want you to keep these 3 questions in mind to ask yourself mentally as the video goes on, because certain things are important to different people and different families. So 1, what matters more, the commute or the lifestyle? Number 2, do you want quiet and simple or more busy, upbeat, and convenient? And 3, do I need to live in a town where there's a lot of other military families, or am I okay mostly being surrounded by civilians? The first town we have is Pemberton/Browns Mills. This is actually where the base is located too, and more often than not, this is where the military families end up staying. So in Browns Mills and Pemberton, you're very close to the base. Could be between 5 and 10 minutes away most days. So if you're really focused on having a short commute, not spending too much on gas, then Pemberton Browns Mills is probably the best option for you. The prices in Pemberton and Browns Mills also generally work very well with your BAH. So keep that in mind that if you have a mortgage payment, it will likely cover all of, if not most of the mortgage payment. Of course, it depends on the house, depends on the size of the house, but generally speaking, Browns Mills is probably the way to go for that one. And there is a very strong neighborhood presence of military. Some of your neighbors are probably military, or they have family that's in the military, so they understand it. You don't have to constantly explain your lifestyle to people. They're used to it already. So if your priorities are, I don't want a long commute, I don't want to stress about gas, I want to be around other military, and I don't need the fancy downtown big box retail stores right outside my neighborhood, then Browns Mills, Pemberton is probably the way to go for you. Now let's go a little bit further out. Let's head over to Eastampton and Westampton. So this is for the families who want that typical sidewalk in the neighborhood, cul-de-sac feel. They want to be close to other parts of the state and easier for commutes. So Eastampton, Westampton, you're very close to the turnpike, very close to I-295. So if you have a spouse that's not on base with you, maybe they have a job in another part of the state, much more convenient for them to commute. These towns also have a pretty big mix of home options, from condos and townhouses to single family homes. Depending on the size of your family, there's probably something that fits what you need. The commute, probably about 15 to 25 minutes, depending on traffic, depending what part of these towns that you're in, but it starts to feel less like military life and more like the suburban life. So I'd say that Eastampton, Westampton is probably best for families who want that typical neighborhood feel. The trick-or-treating, the block parties, while still being close enough to the downtown areas, having the Walmart, the Target. So you can think of it as that middle ground, Eastampton and Westampton. You're not right at the gates of the base, but you're not too far away. You're still close enough to the shopping and the hubs and the restaurants, but your commute's not going to be over 30 minutes long. Now let's zoom out a little bit more. We'll get to the Cherry Hills, the Mount Laurels, the Maple Shades, the Marltons. So these are more family-focused towns. These towns are much more built up, a lot more shopping, a lot more restaurants, a lot more schools, and generally just a lot more things to do for your family. This is where a lot of families say, I'm okay having a little bit longer of a commute, maybe 30 to 40 minutes, if it means that I get all of this in return. If I can go home and I'm not out in the middle of the woods, I actually have a Walmart, a Target, a ShopRite, an Acme, which if you don't know what those are the grocery stores around here. You'll get used to them. But those are probably 5 to 10 minutes away from your house. There's a much more convenient factor of living in these towns. Sure, your commute is a little bit longer, but you get it back tenfold because your commute to everything else is a lot closer. These towns are also perfect for a family where one person works on the base, another one does not work on the base. Maybe they work somewhere along the I-295 corridor, or they work in Philly and have to commute there. So it's a good middle ground. You get a busier suburb, you're not as close to the base, and it's probably a little bit better for children when it comes to activities, a spouse when it comes to commuting to their job. So Cherry Hill and Mount Laurel, definitely ideal suburbs if you're looking for busier lifestyle, more things to do. All right, now we'll head a little bit different direction. We'll head towards the Pine Barrens again. The Medfords, the Tabernacles, the Chamongs, the Lumbertons. So these are really great if you want more of that wooded feel. You don't necessarily want to be in Browns Mills, Pemberton. You don't want to open up your front door and already be at work. So you still want that slower lifestyle. You want to be surrounded by trees. And these are probably the towns for you. These towns let you be more outdoorsy, let you have more of that log cabin feel. They're not as busy as Cherry Hill and Maple Shade, Mount Laurel, not as built up as those towns, but they're not out in the middle of nowhere. You're still very easily able to commute back to Fort Dix. You're able to commute back to these bigger hubs, the Cherry Hills and the Mount Laurels. So just something to keep in mind as well. However, price points tend to be a little bit higher out there, so your BAH may not cover all of it. And while I'm on that topic, I'll also mention that Cherry Hill, Mount Laurel, your BAH may not cover your entire mortgage, so just keep that in mind as well. All right, and number one, the town that more and more lately I've been seeing active military gravitate towards, and you've probably seen it in these Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst Facebook groups, is Mount Holly. So Mount Holly combines basically the perfect amount of everything usually for these families. It lets you be about 20 minutes away from the base while also having a historic downtown feel, while also being very built up. So it's that perfect sweet spot for a lot of people. You get the downtown charm. You get to be able to actually walk to a coffee shop, something that South Jersey doesn't have a lot of anymore. And the towns that do have this downtown feel are usually very expensive. You may have heard of Haddonfield, may have heard of Morristown. If you haven't, go there on a Saturday. You'll see what I'm talking about. But you also have these neighborhoods. They're great for families. There's lots to do, and they're built up. There's still Targets, Walmarts, everything you could possibly need. You're not right at the gates of the base. You're not too far away. It's usually that perfect sweet spot, Mount Holly, New Jersey. All right, so I threw a lot of information out at you. Let's summarize it a little bit. Let's make it actually useful, break it down for what is best for you. So let's say you want the shortest commute. Well, you're probably looking at Pemberton and Browns Mills. What if you want that balance between the suburb and the reasonable drive? You're probably circling Eastampton, Westampton, Mount Holly on the map. And what if you're the person who says, I'll drive more for the amenities or the lifestyle. I also have a spouse who needs to commute and I need everything to be convenient. Well, you're probably at the Mount Laurels, the Cherry Hills, Mount Holly, which is also great for commuters as well, very close to 295 and the Turnpike. Possibly Medford, maybe even Hamilton, which I didn't mention it, but it's up in Mercer County, probably to commute to base about 30 to 40 minutes. But if you have a spouse who's going to be working in North Jersey or needs to commute to New York City, there's a train in Hamilton that will take you to New York. So keep that in mind as well. But at the end of the day, there's no one size fits all. It really depends on you, your family, your specific situation. You need to factor in your BAH in your budget, your commute times, and what you really want from the amenities. What's your lifestyle? Because if you can figure that out, if you're more woodsy, let's stay out towards the Pine Barrens. But if you want that busier suburb feel, we'll probably want to be closer to Cherry Hill, closer to Mount Holly, closer to Mount Laurel, Marlton. So if you're watching this because you just got your permanent change of station orders to Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst, you don't have to do this on your own. Like I mentioned before, my family is the #1 VA real estate team here in South Jersey, and we're here to guide you. Please feel free to reach out to me, reach out to my family. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of people PCSing to and from Fort Dix over the years. And we can help you too. And as always, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment PCS to JBMDL in the comments below. So I know you made it to the end of the video. That'd be pretty cool to see. And as always, thank you for your service and thanks for watching.
Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and please leave a comment below. And if you like this video, you might like this one right up here. Don't forget to subscribe.